Welcome to Coffee with Humans Live with my friend Meaghan Ziemba. Hi.
Hi.
So the dirty secret behind Coffee with Humans is that 98%, let's say, of people are strangers who become friends, but you are not a stranger to me.
I'm not. We actually know each other quite well, but I still clicked that button because honestly, I just needed a break from what's going on in my life.
That was,
kids.
that was why you clicked the button to have coffee with me. You were like,
I need a break. I'm going to schedule this and make it sound really important and tell my parents and my family, hey, I'm busy during this time. I'm on a call. Take a break from the kids.
You know they can watch this live.
That's totally fine, and they can.
They're like, I knew it wasn't.
Gotcha.
So this is the virtual reality of Coffee with Humans, where it's real life is outside this wall, this box.
It looks like you're voguing right now.
I was in a video box. I'm in a video box. I'm a mime.
Like
if I do that, it would be like, oh.
Love it.
That was dumb. Thanks for playing along with that. So,
anytime.
Humans again. This is your second time being on Coffee with Humans, and if I recall, the first time, I should have brought a video clip. You were outside, I think, having coffee.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. I think it was more just like a catch up. It was during your experimental stages of Coffee with Humans. So it wasn't live at that point, I don't think. I think you were just recording them and then posting what you liked. And you didn't post anything from there. So I'm pretty sure you didn't like what we were talking about.
Oh, snap. See, now that's unfortunate. And that's you're onto something there. I had about 70 or so in the tank that I recorded. And it was taking so long to go through and edit them down into these little clips that the vast majority of them never got edited down.
That's too bad. You had some good ones.
Software though that's gonna help with that. In fact, oh, you know what? I'm gonna show you.
Okay. I'm excited.
I know. It's relevant. I wonder if they have like I should get a referral for this. Is there a referral key or something?
I don't know, but that's a good idea. Someone should invent that. No.
Really
the referral button? That reminds me of that Staples button. Do you remember that when they promoted the Staples button? It was just some like stupid gimmicky thing where it was like you pushed it and someone said that was easy.
Right.
That reminds me of that for some reason. I don't know why. That's how my mind is today.
The easy button.
Yeah.
We've got a Facebook user out there saying, I'm excited about this topic. And I wish that here's the thing we need you to do. If you're going to chat with us, if you go to, I'm going to put it out there. Oh.
Just say your name. Type in your name.
Hashtag like mother. If you go to chat.restream.io/Facebook, you can access or allow Restream to access your Facebook profile to get your name, which will enhance your chatting avatar. I think is that the name? Okay, so this thing I was going to show you, it's called Descript.
Okay.
Descript.com. Super cool. It allows you to upload I'll put a little link here. It allows you to upload a video. It will transcribe it even with multiple people. And then you can remove all filler words. So the ums and the likes and the false starts, it'll remove those. It'll rip them out of the audio. It can take them out of the video too if you want them to. then if you take a section of transcript, you can highlight it, click a button, and that will export that whole chunk of video right out. So you can just read through it.
That's awesome.
Right? Super cool
That's really cool. Angela's asking you to repeat the URL.
Please repeat the URL. Yep, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Descript. Oh, sorry. No, you're looking for this URL. The URL, if you want to chat, chat.restream.io/FB. Boy, oh boy. Well, welcome to all of our viewers and listeners. Yes, Meaghan, that Descript thing, certainly check that out if you want to carve up videos in a super fast way. Export out the video, export out the audio, clean up the transcripts. Super, super cool.
I'm going to do that later today.
Yes, totally. Do it. And if you want to test it out, we can test it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So Angela, welcome to our viewers and listeners. Meaghan, when you got on this or registered for this chat, you said a couple important things about work-life balance and questions. Really, I think that they were like fears of failure. As a working mom, am I neglecting my children or teaching them good life lessons? Am I really making a difference with the content I'm creating? Getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. You've had quite a journey, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you want the long story version or short story version? So my journey of motherhood started when I was 19, and I was in my second year of college, not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life, and surprise, found out I was pregnant, which really put me in hyperdrive to kind of figure things out. So I moved back to Wisconsin, had my daughter, Annabelle, who's just amazing. She is actually going to be a senior next year. So she'll be off to college soon and dealing with that emotional roller coaster. But I've always had a fascination with writing and an obsession with writing. So decided that I can't really make, ends meet on the creative side of things. I wouldn't even know how to write a Harry Potter book or Lord of the Rings book to get that much attention from people. So decided to go into technical writing and ended up in the manufacturing industry and have been writing for manufacturing since 2008 and thought I was done having kids and met my husband about 4 years ago, and we now have 2 little ones. So basically had to start all over. And I decided last year to start my own freelance writing business, and I work full-time at a manufacturing company still. So I'm doing those 2 things. And then I have a video cast series. So I don't get a lot of sleep. And I'm juggling multiple things between being a mom, a wife, and a working individual. So it's been a long journey. It's been an exciting journey. It's been filled with lessons learned and mistakes and tears and happiness and every kind of emotion you can think of. But there's days where I'm just like, man, am I being a bad mom because, I'm working so many hours versus hanging out with them or only taking like 20-minute breaks to, give them hugs and stuff. So it's been a struggle emotionally too, because sometimes I feel like I'm not 100% present for them. And I don't know if that necessarily makes me a good mom or a bad mom. So that's the shorter, longer version, I guess, of my story that you could say.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty common feeling from the folks that I've known through the years. I think the colloquial term is mom guilt.
Yeah. Which is weird too, because it's kind of like separating it from dads too, because there's a lot of dads out there that work long hours and stuff, but I don't know. I just find it kind of weird how still to this day, because it's not, the 50s or 60s anymore, where it was expected of moms to stay at home all the time. It's more acceptable for women to be in the workforce, but dads have been doing it forever, as long as I can remember. My dad was gone all the time because of the industry he's in. So he was traveling most of the time. I think we saw him 3 weeks out of the time, out of like every 4 or 5 months, we saw him 3 weeks because he was traveling so much. But I don't think he had any guilt over that. I think he was fine traveling around.
I don't think guys suffer from that as much as ladies. I think maybe because women tend to be more relationally wired.
I think so.
I think that's the root of it.
And we're pregnant for 9 months too, so there's probably that connection that we have.
A comedian talk about how like if a guy, if a guy ever went to the doctor and the doctor's like, "Hey, I got great news for you. You've got something in you. It's
growing,
grow, and then it's going to come out of one of the smallest holes in your body." A guy would just be like, "Holy, stop.
I quit. I'm done. Not doing this."
Meanwhile, women are like, I mean,
yeah. It's a roller coaster of emotions when you find out that there's a human being growing inside of you. It's definitely not comforting at first. It's a little freaky and scary. I mean, if there's moms out there that are calmed by that first initial, "You're pregnant," I have so much respect. My reaction was just like, what am I gonna do?
Right.
So kind of a scary moment.
Yeah.
But a lot of fun now.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot that you're juggling between full-time work, side stuff, and this new Mavens of Manufacturing thing that you're working on.
Yeah.
And then, little people.
One just tried coming into the room that I'm in right now, but the door is locked. So
Mommy.
We'll see how long that lasts for a little bit. I was like,
how do you reconcile this thing of work-life balance? What does it mean to you, actually? Maybe what is the definition for you for work-life balance?
I'm still trying to figure that out. I was on LinkedIn one day, and I think everybody here knows Gary Vee. He's someone that I follow because of just how blunt and honest he is. If you know me personally, I appreciate that kind of stuff. So he was one of the first influencers on LinkedIn that I followed, and he posted something like a week ago about work-life balance. And he basically said that he didn't have any because he loved doing what he does so much that he didn't really need a work-life balance because they kind of just meld together. And I sort of agreed with that, but at the same time, and this might be my mom guilt coming out, where I feel like I should still have some time set aside for my family where they have 100% of my attention and I'm not looking at emails or looking at my phones for text messaging. So it's been really, really difficult. The last 2 weeks, I've made a conscious effort to schedule time where I'm only working maybe an hour or two at a time, and then I'll take 15 to 20 minute breaks in between. And during those breaks, I'll make an effort to hang out with my kids and have conversations with them or feed them lunch or play with them or just do goofy things with them. Is it enough time? I don't know. I don't really know the definition of that. My kids are pretty curious. So most of the time they don't want my attention anyways, because they're busy learning about something else or playing with something. But again, when they do want my attention, that's where I try to give it to them because they want it. So I don't want them to feel like they're ever getting pushed away and rejected. So when they do want my attention, I try to to do it. I try to stop what I'm doing and give them my attention. But otherwise, I mean, another thing that I'm trying not to do is work on the weekends. If I do work on the weekends, I try to get up before everyone else. So around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll get up and work until 7 or 8 until they get up. And then the rest of the time, I won't do anything until they go back to bed. So
that might seem extreme to some people, being up so early, but it seems that somehow fits into your cycle.
So I don't do it all the time because I'm not a morning person, hence why I drink a lot of coffee in the first place. But yeah, this morning I was up at 3:30. I went to the gym at 4. I got a workout in, came home, showered up, and it's really weird because the days that I am able to do that, I actually feel more energy to get more things done, and I'm more focused. So it's weird how that works because I'm typically not a morning person, but I've adapted and adjusted so that I can get that time in with my kids, because especially with my 2 youngest, they're learning about so many things right now and everything strikes their curiosity. I don't want to miss a ton of those moments, but at the same time, I want to teach them about hard work because I feel like that is missing from some of our conversations nowadays. For instance, my daughter, I'm not trying to call her out or throw her under the bus, but she's a competitive dancer. And about a couple years ago, she was getting upset because she wasn't scoring high like some of the other dancers were, and she wasn't getting overall placing. And she had a conversation with me about it. And she's like, I just don't understand what's going on. And I'm like, well, you don't practice enough. And she kind of was taken back by my answer. And she's like, why practice? And I'm like, yeah, but you're not practicing enough. And I was like, to be the best at something, it basically has to be your life. And I was telling her about my softball days in high school. And I was like, I didn't just practice at school or after school. Like I practice on the weekends and I practice in the morning or mid-afternoon. Like I was always playing softball because I wanted to be better than the best player out there. So in order for me to do that, I had to put in the extra work. And I was like, if you want to be one of the best dancers or better than some of the best dancers that you're competing against, you have to put that hard work in to earn it. And I try to teach them not to like participation trophies. I think there's a use for them, but I think that they cause a lot of problems too, because if you get to a point where you just think that things should be given to you without anything, you don't really appreciate what goes into it. So I'm trying to teach my kids, I'm working a lot, but I'm doing it so that, we can do A, B, and C, and things will be set up for you in the future. So I'm trying to teach them the rewards are so much better if you work hard for them. But I don't know if it's working or if it's setting in. So we'll see.
Yeah, right. You probably don't know until years down the road when it starts to come back. It's like a fruit tree.
Yeah,
I get any fruit.
I think I did strike a chord with my daughter though, because since we've had that conversation, she's been doing phenomenal in dance. But she's also been doing phenomenal in school. She has like a 3.5 GPA. She wants to go in medical. She's applying to some of the top medical schools in the nation. And I don't think she would have thought of doing that if I didn't lay that pathway to her, or for her. So, I mean, I'm trying to instill confidence too and not be afraid to do things. And, because I've done that. I've gone through that stage where I was fearful of what may or may not happen, so I didn't even try. So I'm trying to step out of that and
I think
them to just try anything.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm hearing you saying is that, and I think this is true. I think one of the most important things we can do for our kids is teach them how to think instead of what to think. And the gap, I believe the gap for a lot of people who end up with a disconnect, like, hey, why did my parents do such and such? It was never explained to them. So, you're working your butt off. You love it. You've got hopes and dreams for yourself and for your family. And the kids would, maybe feel, let's say if kids were going to feel neglected, that's not the point you're coming from. That you're giving an intense amount of thought. But if you never say that, then they never hear it. And I think one of the key elements is that if you teach them in those moments, here's why I'm doing this, then they start to internalize, oh, I get it. And then it becomes a conversation, and maybe it turns into respect rather than confusion or disappointment or concern.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she's doing good. My 2 little ones are doing great. I'm also trying not to it's weird because I had her when I was 20, and then so many years later I had my 2 little ones, and I feel like I'm a different parent compared to now as to when I was a parent back then.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a combination of just the age difference of when I had her versus when I had them, and all of my life experience in between. But I don't necessarily yell at them as much as I did with her. I was trying to set her up for success in a different way than I am with them. I tried to shelter her. I thought that would help. But now I realize that wasn't the best strategy, I think. So when I put her into dance, I did it to kind of get some of that introvertedness that she was experiencing, decreasing some of that, because she was starting to be shy and not want to talk to anybody. And then I put her in the dance and she talks to everyone and she's never quiet. So I think that's a win. But with my 2 boys, I try to encourage their curiosity. So if they decide, hey, here's a glass of milk, I'm going to dump it down the stairs just to see what happens, because that happened. I try not to get upset about it because they're just curious. Hey, what's going to do this? My husband's happy, but I just kind of giggled and laughed and was like, yeah. And they were so amazed by it, cool, look what happened. It went all the way down the stairs. I'm like, yeah, that's great, fantastic. Now I got to clean it up. So that was fun. So I try to let them experiment and figure things out, because I think that's helpful too.
Yeah, I think that's patience setting in over the years. Not everything, all those things that were big deals, the first time through, become not such a big deal, a second and the third time. And I agree with you, probably with life, life in between, and especially as a young mom, that's a different experience,
Yeah.
than
and being a girl mom versus a boy mom is completely different too. I think you parent your daughters differently than you parent your sons, which is so weird, because I was always the one that was, oh, I'm going to treat them all the same, but I don't.
Right.
And I have it. It's weird.
Totally different. And it shouldn't, people say it shouldn't be, but it is, and that's the way it is. And yeah, I parent my daughter differently than I parented my boys. It's subconscious. The things that I was thinking about this the other day. Oh, because my son is in town. He doesn't live in this area right now. He was in town, and we were talking about driving, and I've my 2 boys, and I was like, well, my first son, I was like, he's going to be a good driver. He's attentive to detail, and worries about things. So he'll be a good driver. And then my second son, I was like, he's probably going to get into crashes, and he just doesn't seem to super nice social guy. He'd be the guy who's just like, I'm rather talk to you. I'd rather like talk to you than drive. And boom. And and now, my daughter, she's almost to the point where she can get her permit. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what? No. Stop this. This is crazy. She should never be allowed on the streets.
It's really, I said the same thing about my daughter, and I'm still afraid every time I give her, because she's already crashed one of my cars. She's totaled it. So I have a brand new car, not because I wanted it, but because I needed it, because she totaled my other one. And I thank God every day that that's all she totaled, and she didn't get hurt. She wasn't paying attention, or she was trying to beat an arrow and got T-boned, and that phone was the scariest thing ever. And she kept apologizing, Mom, I'm sorry. And I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'd rather get a new car than not have my daughter around, so it's fine. But yeah, every time I get those keys, that's the first thought I have. I'm like, please don't get T-boned again. Please just drive quickly. And so we have this routine where she needs to text me anytime she gets anywhere, because I need to know that she's alive and breathing, which might be a little crazy on my part, but it's scary. It's so scary.
Yeah. Well, we briefly touched on this thing, Mavens of Manufacturing, that you have recently launched, which is a huge endeavor. And I think it goes along with one of the things that you're talking about, which was getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. And am I really, following your dreams and then making a difference in this whole scope, this holistic scope of being a mom, and a wife, and like, so what changed in you? What was the change that caused you to jump out of your comfort zone, this well-worn path of who you are and were, and just kind of like say, I'm going to start kind of pushing the envelope for me?
It's a really good question. I kind of hit a dark phase for a few months. I don't know if it was postpartum depression or what. But after I had my son Rowan, who's my youngest, I kind of just fell into this dark space and didn't think I was really providing any value. The manufacturing company that I worked before let me go, and I think at that point I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to let this defeat me this time, because I've lost jobs before in the past and had my crying moments. So I think the day that I was let go was the only day that I really lost my emotions, like crying, sobbing, and all that stuff, and questioning my worth. But I think after that, I decided, I'm going to try something different. So I had a conversation with my husband, and I was like, do you care if I start doing this, which is my freelance writing business? He goes, no, try it out. So after a month of starting that, I got hired on to another company in Chicago and started doing writing for them. But during that process, I noticed with this company, what was different before in other companies that I worked for in the past is they had a lot more women on their team. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Like, they have women everywhere in this company. They're on the shop floor, in the office, they're doing administrative work, working the machines, the chemistry stuff goes into their processes and services. And I was completely blown away. And being part of women organizations before this, one of the main things that was discussed was the skills gap and then the genders gap. And, I thought about myself and the career path that I took, and then I thought about my daughter, and I thought about my friends' daughters. And for whatever reason, I was surrounded by women that were competing against each other instead of with each other. And when I got into the manufacturing space, the few women that I met during trade shows and stuff, which, there was few compared to the amount of men at these trade shows, they were high-fiving each other, going out for drinks with each other, building each other up. Even if they were competing companies, they still have that woman bond with them. And I was floating this idea around for a while, and it was a conversation that I had with you. And you asked me about it, and I told you, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm kind of fearful of it, like, because I was. And then I told you about my skydiving trip that I went to, and you asked why I jumped out of a plane. I told you I was afraid of heights, and I just wanted to face my fear of heights, so I did. It was the most exhilarating experience I've ever had in my life. I'd recommend it to everyone, even if you're afraid of heights, go skydiving at least once. And you kind of just took that answer that I gave you and applied it to Meaghan's manufacturing. And you were like, just jump out of the plane and do it. Like, just do it. So, yeah, I made an announcement back in December, and a bunch of people contacted me through LinkedIn, and they were like, I would love to take this. And I think just, my passion for manufacturing and telling people stories and writing, it just all fit together. And, because when I was growing up, I was insecure about everything. And that's a huge problem. I think amongst most women, we have our insecurities, and they get in our way. They definitely do. So I wanted to set a platform, not just for my daughter, but for other people's daughters, where they can feel comfortable with themselves and feel proud of themselves and know that they can make a difference in the world, whether it's, making something on a CNC machine or doing something like, sewing textiles together, anything that you can create. I want women to, embrace that and know that they have a voice, and they can be innovative, and they can be part of these conversations, and they can make a difference. So yeah, I just took that leap and jumped out of the plane like you told me to do, and here we are today. So, I mean,
so this is a live streamed show. And you just threw yourself out there, and you've got a cool, I don't know, it's a cool story as I look at it, for a person who you genuinely want to make a difference, not only for yourself, and you and I have had these conversations. You want to make a difference for your daughter, for one, to kind of demonstrate to her that, hey, listen, you can do it too. And you're right. I mean, everybody has insecurities to some degree. Some people overcome them in ways that are just kind of obnoxious. It's just like, I'm going to show you. And then some people overcome it with just the kind of almost like a humility, like, hey, I'm gonna put myself out there, and hey, I hope, like, I'm gonna bring my ball to the field. Does anyone want to come play? That's that. I think I think that's kind of how you approached it. Kind of fearful in a way, but also a determination, I think, if I would characterize it as such.
Yeah, I mean, there's that sense that I have, and maybe this is part of me being a mom too. My biggest fear in life right now, as it stands, is letting my kids down or failing them in some form or fashion. So they are my motivation every day that I wake up, every night that I go to sleep. I'm very grateful for the grit that they have instilled in me, because I don't think any of this would have been possible without that determination and motivation. And I mean, my sister, she teaches math, and when she started teaching, she taught in a Title IX district in Houston, Texas. And she said that, these kids come from such lower income families, and most of their family members are either drug addicts or gang members, or just not set up on a path for success. And that really kind of bothered me, but it also made me very grateful for the life that I've had. But there are kids out there that are still struggling, you know, whether it's because they have their own inner demons or because of their surrounding environment, they don't have the same opportunities that other kids have. I want to be able to touch those kids too, to, you know, and motivate them that, hey, you might not know that these skill sets can actually be something that can make you extremely successful. So I'm hoping one of my goals is to actually bring Mavens to Manufacturing to communities like that, where, you know, they might not think I'm worth anything. I don't have anything to offer. Well, no, that's not the case. You just didn't have the opportunity in front of you. So let's start bringing those opportunities in front of those kids so that they can, you know, learn about themselves and learn the skill sets that they have. And I mean, kids are so creative. And technology has kind of helped with that. I mean, if you look on YouTube or TikTok or whatever the latest form of social media is, there's a lot of talented kids out there that are doing some really creative things with video. Yeah. And not too many people would make that connection of video with manufacturing. Like, they wouldn't, but there is a connection there. You can get into graphic design or video design. Manufacturers are going crazy over video right now. So, I mean, that's something kids can bring to the table. There's programming opportunities, there's coding opportunities, there's website design opportunities. If you look at the majority of manufacturers now and their websites, they're not exciting. Like, they're pretty bad. So there is a niche there. And I just want people to know that just because it's not right in front of you doesn't mean that it's not there. So that's one of my main goals, and I hope I get there.
I mean, I've seen the evolution of your growth through this process, and I know that you started off basically saying, how do I even do this? I feel like I want to do this, and here's my dream in front of me. But you didn't know, you know, how to do live streaming and that type of stuff. And so the very thing that you're trying to inspire others to do, which is just go do this and sort of storm the castle. Well, I think one of the principles that your experience has brought out is that go find people around you who have the skill sets. And I'm a pretty firm believer that when there's something that's in front of us that we should or could be doing, the resources are around us as well. Mm-hmm. And this idea of, you know, going back to your idea of like part of the balance is recognizing those other resources and how they come to play in our experiences. You know, you've shifted your schedule so you get up early and you carve out time, you know, for the kids while you're also learning how to live stream and experimenting with new things and getting the word out and doing your day job and doing a fantastic job there too. It's all of these. It's kind of like dance, right? I mean, your daughter's a professional dancer, right? The music goes and you got to go with it, and turn it into something, you know, because it's better than standing there.
Right. And if you mess up, you just keep going. And I think that's another good point too, because it's cliche because everybody on LinkedIn is saying it right now, but you should welcome failure and not be afraid of it. It's so cliche because it's everywhere on LinkedIn right now, but I myself had to get comfortable with that because I'm sort of a perfectionist where I want everything to go exactly as planned. And it took a lot of years up until now to be comfortable with that not being the case. So, and maybe that's where my patience comes in with my kids dumping milk down the stairs. It's, you know, okay, sure. It didn't work out. Okay, move forward. Like, on to the next thing kind of thing. And you just have to take every bit as a learning experience. And one of my favorite lines from you is 1% better. So if I'm doing 1% better today than I did yesterday, I'm on the right track. And I think people need to keep that in mind. It's the world's not going to catch on fire if you made a mistake somewhere.
Probably not. I love the example of your kids dumping milk down the stairs as an idea. They're kind of testing something, just like you're testing the waters. Let's say with Mavens, are people going to like it? I'm going to put them out. How do I schedule it? All these things? You're just testing. They're just at a different stage of testing. They're testing, a grip on kind of like reality of how do we care for a house and how do we use milk. And, and what's fun, what's not fun, and what's work and what's not work, what's clean, what's not clean. They're just testing life on a different level.
Yeah. And I'm probably a bad mom for saying this too. Like, my kid's new thing now is jumping off of furniture. And everyone freaks out about it. And I'm just like, just do it. Like, fine, do it. I'm sure one of these times they're going to get stitches, a broken bone, or a concussion. I'm sure that's bound to happen. But there's only so many times you can tell someone no for them to believe you. Like, they have to go through the motions themselves to understand it and believe it. So I'm one of those parents where I'm like, yeah, jump off of it. See what happens. You might get hurt. You might not. You might have luck on your side this time. My mom, it drives my mom crazy because I just am like, yeah, just do it. See what happens.
Yeah, I don't think my mom would appreciate that either. My daughter, at the very minimum, you're going to have some good stories from it. My daughter got this little like notch, like this skin, from an old cut right above her eye. And that is from, she was somehow behind me on a couch, like wiggling around or something like that. And went over me. And I don't know if I don't recall. It was a long time ago. I'm not sure if I was supposed to catch her or maybe I threw her down. I don't know. Something happened and she hit herself, she hit her eye like on this coffee table. We ended up at the immediate care and they promptly started like investigating whether I was beating my child. And and I know it's terrible to think about, but I was like, if I was beating my child, she wouldn't come in with a tiny little eye thing. I bring her to the emergency room for a tiny little eye. And it's like, no, she just fell, like we were horsing around and she fell off on the, it's like, and she talked about it. She talked about it not all that long ago. And she has this big embellished story, about how I was trying to break her face or something. And no, you were wiggling and you fell off.
Yeah.
It became a thing for her. And she laughs about it, and it's exciting to her that she kind of had that experience. And I think of what would be the opposite, like sheltering in place, as a kid, like don't touch anything, don't ruin anything, don't hurt anything, don't break anything. And I don't know that that's a better existence.
Well, I think if you go that route, they'll be afraid to try new things.
Mm-hmm.
My mom kind of sheltered us a little bit as much as she could. And there were certain things that I was afraid to try because of her worry that she passed on to us. Now I'm just like, I'm old enough. I had a good life. So this doesn't end up great. I had a good life, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, your story with the stitches reminds me when I got stitches in my chin. I was dancing. I was 9. I was dancing in the shower, slipped and fell, hit the edge of the tub, and I had to get stitches. So we go to the ER room with that story. They asked my mom to leave the room.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and they're like, so what really happened, Meaghan? And I'm like, I slipped in the shower. Did you or did your mom tell you to say that? And I'm like, she didn't tell me to say anything. I slipped in the shower. She gave me the towel to stop the bleeding. Like, it's fine. But before that, like weeks before that, my brother got stitches in his shin. My sister got stitches in her chin. Like, we all were getting hurt at some point. And we had multiple trips to the hospital. So they started thinking, what's really going on here? But it's kids, kids get hurt. That's how they learn.
Well, insightful conversation. I am curious in our final minutes here together. Since you're a perfectionist and you like to be good at things, and you don't like to make mistakes, I thought we could do a drawing game. You got time for that?
I do, and I purposely brought a pen so I couldn't erase anything.
All right. Well, we are definitely going to play What's-a-Draw-It.
Okay. I'm excited for this.
Here's how this is going to work for our viewers and listeners, and for you too. Here's how this works. I'm going to have a card that shows on the screen. This one, draw a frog sitting in a canoe headed for a waterfall. You'll have 1 minute, so we'll both draw.
Okay.
As soon as card, and then we'll have 1 minute to draw whatever shows up on the screen.
Okay.
And then we'll show our cards to the screen, and you can vote for your own. If you think you honestly did a better job than me, you can vote for yourself.
Okay.
But this is your opportunity. I know you're a writer, so we're going to see if you're a drawer as well. You ready?
Okay.
Ready for the first card? There will be 3 of them.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Draw a creature with a fish head, an elephant body, and spider legs.
What?
Fish head, an elephant body, and spider legs. Don't question the card. You don't have time to question it. Draw a creature with a fish head. What kind of fish, though? Oh, this is not a fish head. Oh, no. Ah.
A fish head.
And spider legs.
And an elephant body. This is terrible.
How many legs does a spider have? I forget. Is it 6 or 8? There's 8? Okay. Oh, no. This is not a good fish. Looks more like an eel.
10 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Oh, wow. This is terrible.
This is really terrible.
Okay. Creature with a fish head, an elephant body, and spider legs. Oh. Okay.
That's terrible. That's nightmarish. You know what I was thinking when I was thinking fish head?
Yeah.
The fish in SpongeBob SquarePants. They don't really look like fish, but they got the mouth. You know what
Huh. Yeah. You had like, you're like one of those creatures from a horror film that like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what an elephant body looks like.
All right. This is a creature with a fish head, an elephant body, and spider legs.
That.
8 legs, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think you won. You won. You won
I'm
that
not
one.
confident in that face, though.
It does look like an eel.
It's
But
certainly
isn't
a fish.
Is eel a type of fish?
Um,
I'm
I
not
don't-
I'm not a zoologist, so I wouldn't know. Is that the right term?
I don't know.
I'm a writer. I should know this.
Amphibiologist? I don't know if an eel's an amphibian or not.
Well, I know what I'm Googling later.
Hey, Google, is an eel an amphibian?
On the website study.com, they say eels are classified as a type of fish, but they are very different from most of the fish we
You can't hear it, but they're classified as a type of fish, although they are very different from most kinds of fish.
The more you know.
First,
I'm
folks.
happy with humans.
Right. Second drawing. You ready for this?
I am.
Draw a lollipop calling her mom on her sugar phone. She's not calling her sugar daddy. She's calling on the sugar phone. The comedy here is free. Lollipop calling her mom on her sugar phone. I'm gonna give her big old lips. She got filler lips, but she got fat injections.
30 seconds.
What is a sugar phone? I don't even know. I'm spending way too much time on this lollipop.
seconds.
Putting a blouse on her. Oh no, this is not good.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, this is terrible. What you got? A lollipop calling her mom on the sugar.
I didn't know how else to draw a sugar. Oh, you know what would have been good?
What?
You know what would have been good? Drawing like a sugar cube for the phone.
Oh, I was having a real hard time. Okay.
Sugar cube phone. Dang it.
This is a lollipop calling her mom on a sugar phone. Her sugar phone is one of those sugar packets and it's dribbling out.
Like a sugar packet cell phone. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's just dribbling out all over the place.
That kind of her face kind of reminds me of something on the Saw movies. It's kind of creeping me out
Right?
a little bit.
I forgot hair. I was so focused on getting eyes and like I was thinking like big, like Real Housewives lips.
Kardashian lips.
Oh no, I'm a lollipop. I don't know why. Well, I think you win that second round.
That's a tie. Need a tiebreaker.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Ready for this?
Yes.
Last one. Draw a cereal box for a new cereal called Rock, Scissors, Paper. A cereal box for a new cereal called Rock, Paper, Scissors. Buddy, bitty, boo, 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 boo. Do you eat this?
That's a good question.
30 seconds.
Rock, paper. Oh.
3, 2, 1.
What's the nutrition? What's the nutritional value of rock, paper, scissors cereal? What? Okay. Pretty good.
You're a winner. I think you won that round.
I feel like it's one of those cereals that gets you up. You're like, I'm glad I had this because I feel like I'm a winner.
I like that. I think you won that round, Jason.
I'll accept that. But I feel like yours was really good. You had rock, paper, scissors. You had it labeled. Mine just says you're a winner. People are like, what cereal is that? The one with the box that says you're a winner.
Mine was more kid friendly. Yours was kind of the adult version. Well, you're cutting paper on the box and you had the guy.
And I have an angry rock.
Yeah. He looks angry.
He was designed to be angry.
Okay. That's great.
That was my thought. Well, that's excellent. All right. So in our final minute here, I was out with at bowling, and we were talking about if you were to die, And
wow, it's deep.
get a bunch of guys together, and the really deep parts come out. If you were to die, and people, and like, what method would people just be like, yeah, that made sense? Like, how did you die? That people were like,
how did I die?
Yeah. So we agreed that my friend Colin probably had a freak farm accident. Crushed by an end loader or something.
Okay.
My friend Brian died under suspicious circumstances. His wife was making dinner and he was dead on the floor.
That's terrible.
And I and I had a freak accident in a nightclub.
Freak accident in a nightclub. That is a good question. My mom and I actually were talking about dying because she's preparing, because I guess that's what you do when you're older. And I told her that I just want it to be quick, and I don't know that it's happening. So, I mean, if I were to go skydiving again and my chute failed, I think that would be a good way to go.
Figures.
Yeah. Or walking in front of a moving bus would probably make sense too, because sometimes I'm not paying attention to my surroundings. So either getting hit by something or me slipping on something and falling on something would probably not surprise a bunch of people.
Huh. Well, that's insightful.
Yeah.
Good. Now we know more about Meaghan. Good. Well, any last words you want to leave our audience about work-life balance, being a mom?
Just take it second by second, and you created life, so don't feel like you're failing at something. That's a big feat in its own. You created life, and just take it second by second and enjoy it. And it's not going to be easy to find a work-life balance, but it is possible. And there is no manual out there, so don't feel like if you're not doing something the same way someone else is doing, that you're doing it the bad way. You could be doing it the better way.
All righty. Well, on that note, this is Coffee with Humans. Live, raw, unedited conversations between strangers who become friends with my friend, continuing to be friend, Meaghan Ziemba. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.
One of the things I love about Coffee with Humans are the raw conversations I get to have, meeting new people just like you. If you or someone you know should be on Coffee with Humans, go to coffeewithhumans.com. Remember, the only rule is no sales calls.
This has been Coffee with Humans. Subscribe to get updates or click to have coffee with me. coffeewithhumans.com.